My name is Alexandre Apsan Frediani, and I'm a principal researcher at the Human Settlements Group of the International Institute for Environment and Development. I authored the Freetown scoping study, drawing on the work that has been done in collaboration with colleagues at the Sierra Leone Urban Research Center, as well as the Butler Development Planning Unit of University College London. The first takeaway for me while conducting this study is the amazing amount of really fascinating and insightful resources about Freetown, as we see really a proliferation of urban development and spatial studies being conducted about the city. What is really exciting is that these studies are only revealing a series of conditions and experience about the city, but they are being done in partnership and collaboration with civil society groups, residents of informal settlements, who are normally marginalized from the process of knowledge production. So in that sense, they are really generating new knowledge about things that were not explicit and were not being documented, but they were doing in a very emancipatory and collaborative way. So this is I think, a really exciting feature of what those studies are demonstrating. The second takeaway relates to how this recent growth of urban development knowledge in Freetown illustrates and is also part of the existing contestations over the visions for the future of the city. We see research and knowledge being used to advance market-driven approaches to urban development, as well as others promoting the articulation for more socially just vision and narratives of the city. So Freetown is a contested territory, and so is the research about Freetown. And we can see that through the lens of the people writing, the content writing, the contents of those different studies. So one of the Freetown's main challenge is its rapid growth in a context where a large proportion of the population lack adequate access to infrastructure, services, and housing. Freetown is a city of over 1 million inhabitants and whose population is expected to double in size in the next 20 years. Informal settlements constitute 36% of all settlements in the city. While there is not a really precise figure for the percentage of the total Freetown population living in informal settlements, it is likely that they house around 60% of Freetown's population. Only 22% of Freetown residents have access to improved private sanitation facilities, and only 3% of urban households have access to piped indoor drinking water. This combination of rapid growth and inadequate access to infrastructure, services, and housing generates social and health risks that are particularly experienced by women and girls living in informal settlements. Well, a second key challenge identified in the study is in relation to the precarization of livelihood activities, particularly of low-income groups. More than 60% of people living in Freetown work in the informal sector, and at the same time, informality is often criminalized, as governments have often prohibited or sanctioned informal economic activities. And finally, the environmental risks present a key challenge to the city. The intersection of increased intensity of rainfalls caused by climate change with the lack of control of real estate developments in hilly areas and precarious living conditions in flood-prone areas have resulted in serious environmental risks to the whole city, but disproportionately affecting low-income groups. There are exciting political openings that offer real opportunity to address these challenges. The Mayor's Transform Freetown agenda has galvanized a lot of positive energy to coordinate efforts and address various urban development challenges. At the national level, urban development and urban planning are increasingly being recognized as an entry point to bring about more sustainable and equitable development. The initial efforts towards the development of a Sierra Leone's national urban policy is a real opportunity that can bring about concrete policy change, resulting in the allocation of resources and frameworks that can address the challenges that I just talked about. At the same time, there is a vibrant network of NGOs, community-based organizations engaging in meaningful processes of improvement of the life conditions in the city. They are involved in street cleaning, tree planting, enumeration, profiling, planning activities in informal settlements, providing social care and support to vulnerable families, and so on. So if ACRC can carry out research that can support these networks to engage and influence these upcoming policy openings, I think we have a real opportunity to be part of a process that can generate lasting change in Freetown and Sierra Leone. I've been working in Sierra Leone now for a while, for 7 years or so, supporting the setting up of the Sierra Leone Urban Research Center. And we have been doing a series of studies in informal settlements, which includes the development of community action area plans, which is an instrument that has come about in dialogue with the Federation of the Urban and Rural Poor, which is supporting those organizations and those grassroots groups to be able to generate a plan that they can use, on the one hand, to advocate for change with the state authorities, but also with NGOs that want to come in and invest and make improvements in the city. And having a plan allows them to then bring change on their own terms and to increase the negotiation power in the process of identification and design of any initiative. But what we've seen also is that those plans have been contributing for allocation of resources of informal settlement dwellers themselves, and they start using the plan to inform where they would like to collectively invest and improve in their settlements. And there has been a pilot engagement in 2 informal settlements, Coco Bay and Duazak, and this year SLAC is conducting another one in Potirucupa. So with this study, I feel that there is opportunities here to continue that line of investigation that is about conducting action research projects that supports this process of mobilization and participatory planning of people that have been marginalized in many spaces of decision making, and at the same time study the implications of that. What is that doing to democratize city making in Freetown? So I hope that ACRC can support the structures which have been set up to conduct this type of study. One very important structure that has been set up by the Sierra Leone Urban Research Center to facilitate the institutionalization of the community action area plans has been the City Learning Platform. It's a platform that brings together government authorities, NGOs, grassroots communities, and as well representatives from professional bodies to discuss how informal settlement upgrading can be advanced in the policy framework of Freetown and Sierra Leone at large. And the community action area plans have been one instrument that they have been promoting in such platform to try to get it institutionalized. At this moment, the Freetown City Council has supported the community action area plans, thinking and promoting it and arguing that it's a good instrument to try to support future informal settlement upgrading interventions. It's also been recognized by the Ministry of Lands at the national level. And this type of infrastructure of dialogue, of influence and collaboration also is another type of infrastructure that I think that the ACRC could be supporting to consolidate so that local actors can affect change in a more meaningful way in the long term.